hectic.
Welcome back to it. Now, we all know that our generation is all about, the green movement and creating those green spaces for all. So today, we're joined by Phyllida, who's here to show us how to put together our very own urban garden. Welcome to Hectic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Phyllida, you're a landscaper. Okay, so what does that actually entail and how did you get into it?
A landscaper is somebody who deals with the client, either corporate in the business or domestic, with their gardens. And we help the client to green their surroundings of their home and make them feel as though they're in a lovely surrounding.
Okay, so let's talk about the urban gardening versus gardening in a traditional sense. What are the differences?
Okay, your traditional gardens are more the big landscapes,
yes,
with rolling lawns and flower beds and that sort of thing. And your urban landscapes are more like with your city in the city,
okay,
where a lot of us live in apartments now,
yes,
and perhaps you've just got a balcony and you create a little garden out on your balcony with succulents or pot plants. And you can even take your plants inside. For instance, if somebody is keen on cooking, you can create a little herb garden in your kitchen.
Oh, cool.
And so the urban landscape is more of a containerized gardening system.
Okay, so let's actually get into everything that you've brought for us today. We're going to be creating some urban gardening plants or situations. So what have you brought for us and how does everything work?
Okay, I've got only succulents here today that you can use, as I said, herbs or ordinary plants.
Okay, and why are they so good for urban gardening?
Succulents are very low maintenance, and as well as they drought resistant.
Yes.
So they don't need a lot of watering and a lot of care.
Yeah.
What's fun with succulents is you can put them in any kind of container. For instance, I've even recycled an old saucepan.
Yeah.
And I just thought that's quite fun, it's a bit of quirkiness and doesn't need a lot of looking after.
Super cool.
And it's got a little bit of a sculptural shape to it. And I've got some old jars here, glass jars, which you can use. I'll show you. Here's an example of one that I did a while ago.
Yes.
So that's a little jar with a succulent in it, and I've got a wire which I've attached around the neck of the jar, and you can hang that up in a tree or on a peg outside on the stoep.
Nice.
And it just takes care of itself.
Okay, cool. So what are we going to be putting together today?
Okay, I'm going to do an example in a glass jar.
Okay.
And also just to say that these are a couple of different examples of succulents that I've got, all sorts of different shapes and sizes and prickles and all sorts of different things that you can decorate your pot plant with. Okay, so I'm going to start off with soil.
Okay.
Put some soil in here. Okay, now, so what plant am I going to use? I think I'm going to use this plant.
Okay.
And so we want the plant to stick out of the jar like that.
Okay.
So if you can see, that's where the plant base comes. So I've got to fill up to there with soil.
Okay, cool.
So that's what I'm going to do now.
Okay.
And what you can also do to create a bit of interest, not so that it's just the plant, you can also layer different colors of soil and textures. So that's one kind, and this one I'll do with this.
Okay. So for our viewers watching at home that want to get into landscaping, what can they study at school level?
Gosh, at school level, I'm not sure if there's anything that you can study at school level, but me personally, I learned from my parents growing up.
Cool.
And my parents were very keen gardeners, and I just learned from them. They laid out their own garden, and I'm an artist as well.
Nice.
So that just lends itself to, when I meet with clients, I ask them what they want in their surroundings, and then I come back to the drawing board and design a landscape design.
Nice.
And then we go from there, and so I think at school level you're not going to get much education, sort of formal education about it. But after school, you can go to Technikon or university and get a degree in horticulture or whatever.
Now, you mentioned you were self-taught and that you read a lot of books, so that's always a good thing as well, so they can do that.
Yeah, I trained as a textile designer initially in the arts, and I just fell into landscaping because I grew up with plants and I just love plants. And I surrounded myself with plants and I just read every book I could get hold of, and I just drew in the knowledge. Very keenly, and that's how I learned all my experience and my knowledge is from reading.
Okay, so what else do we need to do to finish?
So now I want to decorate this with decorative stones. And this is just something that the children can do in the school holidays because it's such fun.
And it seems super easy.
So you've got a couple of different layers of interest.
Looks beautiful.
Like that. And it's something that the children can do and they can look after it, and it's a living thing, you know, and I think that's just such fun to look after something that you actually are letting grow.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
I'm sure that all of our aspiring horticulturists out there have learned so much.
Hectic.